What's that one about?
That comes later. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Fun Show here at Big TV. This is the April 2nd edition of the Fun Show, and I'm sure you're all aware, but I'm still trying to get used to the idea that it was actually snowing this morning on April 2nd.
Was that snow? Oh, I thought there was carbon dioxide falling. Oh.
Thought somebody was on the roof with a fire extinguisher or something like that.
Something like that.
Of course, it wasn't the 25 inches we got on April 1st a few years ago.
No, we
but
did get a lot of stuff.
do you have any idea when the last time Easter fell on April Fool's Day?
That's a long time ago. What is
It's
it?
a piece of trivia, but it turns out it was 1945,
1945.
which means it doesn't happen all that often. you
No,
know?
that's a long time.
So anyway, it was. We had a pleasant Easter. I roasted a leg of lamb, and
Sounds good
it
and
wasn't-
tasty, too.
it wasn't too bad. My grandchildren and I made a lot of Easter eggs, and
Okay.
so it was good. It was
We-
pleasant.
We had a lot of eggs, hard-boiled eggs we did. Yeah.
Hard-boiled eggs, but they're not peeling very well this year.
Yeah,
You
well,
know how frustrating it is when the peel just won't come off the egg.
true.
You know?
That's true.
You know, you're picking and picking and picking. Well, in the I'm Arch O'Reilly. Behind the Kira keyboard is Michael Sallin. Word is that our friend Kira is going to be back here next week. I will not be. I will be on the left coast, as we like to say.
Okay.
Did I say it's Mike Sallin standing over there?
No, it's okay.
In any case, we have an empty seat here. Unfortunately, we're not quite sure where Susan is, but
we wish her well wherever she is.
hopefully Susan will be here next week. And so to take care of the necrology, I think it was today or perhaps yesterday, Winnie Mandela passed away.
Oh, one of my favorite politicians.
Winnie Mandela was 79 years old, and she had her ups and downs, both in politics and family matters. But a fighter and a heroine, and one of the reasons that South Africa is now a free country. So that's good.
Okay, it is good.
I was suggesting that the White House needed to put up some posters in the place, reminiscent of the posters that were all over the World War II that said, "Loose lips sink ships." The theory was that there were many German third columnist spies around picking up information wherever they could, and if they heard somebody saying that their loved one was shipping out of a certain port on a certain day or something, it would alert the U-boats and could sink ships. Well, they need to put up a poster, primarily just in the Oval Office, that says, "Loose lips sink the Dow Jones average."
Oh,
because
it took a while to get
the man
there.
who claims to be making America great has beaten the Dow Jones average pretty much into the ground with his just nonsensical, stupid, meaningless Twitter attacks. Now he's attacking Amazon, which incidentally he loved during the campaign, but now he's attacking Amazon. That drove the market down another few hundred points today.
Yeah.
And his careless attempts to cause a trade war all over the world has driven the market down thousands of points.
It's a churlish attitude on his part.
Yeah. He's supposed to know better, but clearly he doesn't know anything.
Well, he
Literally does not know
he
anything.
knows about Twitter.
He must be the most ignorant human being on the face of the earth.
Well, you really think that the most ignorant?
Yeah.
Oh, all
Not
right.
the stupidest, the most ignorant. He's
All right.
willfully ignorant.
He is willful.
He's willfully ignorant.
Okay.
And so don't tell me where you got your degrees from, Donnie, because you willfully have not learned anything since then, you know. And he loves to surround himself with people who have absolutely no qualifications whatsoever. And now he had to fire Hope Hicks, who had been with him forever, because she was fooling around with another staff member he had to fire because he was abusing his wives. That's another thing he likes. He likes you to have a number of wives and a number of divorces. So he's replacing him with, you say Twitter,
Yeah.
with a guy named Scavino, who's been in charge of his Twitter account.
That-
And this is his entire qualification. And he's now going to be
the
White
White
House
House
Communications Director.
Communications director.
Yes, White House Communications Director.
That's TV, news.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And the theory
radio.
is,
Yeah.
the theory is that this is a consolation to him for the fact that his wife's filed for divorce.
That's Scavoni.
His name is Scavino.
Scavino. I was
Scavino.
close. Okay.
But it seems that half the people in the Trump administration are getting divorced.
Well,
I'm wondering when Melania is going to get on the bandwagon here
she was out there with him on wasn't
on
she?
the egg roll.
On
yeah.
the egg roll, Easter egg roll. Yeah. Who paid for the eggs? Any idea?
I don't know. We've been doing egg rolls forever. I
Oh.
assume they came out of the
Okay.
same account. You know,
All right.
I'm not really worried where they're paying for eggs for the egg roll. I'm a little more concerned with his now intending to raid the Department of Defense to build his wall.
Yes.
Now, the Republicans have always complained that the Democrats shorted defense and that they needed more money for defense, and we'll cut welfare, we'll cut health care so we can put more money in defense. And what's the first thing this guy does? He says, oh, I'll just take $25 billion out of the defense budget
And build
to build my stupid wall. I mean,
At least if they had, if they brought in all these reservists and brought over 50,000 guys from the army from all these foreign countries, they could build something, couldn't they?
maybe they could stand along the border arm in arm.
Well, that's a possibility. Something. Anyways, I think Stormy Daniels is becoming very popular.
Yeah, you don't think she's last week's news?
No, she's going to make more programming, and they like her. She's not such a simpleton as they thought. She's.
Well,
that's what that's what these-
unfortunately, at the moment, the judge has said he's not yet ready. The news reported it as that he'd turned down their request to get a deposition from the president, but in fact, he said he wasn't yet ready to let them have a deposition.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the day that Donald John Trump sits down and raises his hand for a deposition, whether it's in a civil case or a congressional hearing or Mueller or something, he's dead. The day he raises his hand, because the guy absolutely cannot avoid lying. He lies like breathing. If he's breathing, he's lying. If his lips or thumbs are moving, he's lying. And he's going to be asked all these questions, and he's going to lie.
I kind of get used to all that lying because I don't believe it anyways, and I kind of laugh at it. It's fun, and because the next day he says the opposite anyways of everything.
Yeah. Well,
And-
unfortunately, people around the world actually believe some of it.
He said, you were telling me before, he said this terrible thing about during the Easter egg hunt at the White House lawn.
Well, he was tweeting. He took Easter morning. He tweeted Happy Easter to everybody.
Yeah.
And then his next tweet, right on top of it, was, no deal for the DACA. It's off the table. They're trying to sneak in here under DACA. No more DACA.
That's, yeah, that
Of
ought
course,
to
the
make,
funny thing is, he has nothing to say about it. Because his previous attempts to do away with DACA have so far not met any support in the courts.
you know,
And it's really, ironically, out of his hands.
well, he, 5 times at least he said he wanted to pass some kind of legislation taking care of them.
And of course, there would be no crisis if he hadn't out of the blue unilaterally declared it dead.
Right.
You know, now he's complaining that the Democrats haven't fixed his problem that he created, you know.
Well, if the Democrats would build the wall, everything would be fine. Then he'd take care of DACA and all the other things he wants to do.
Well, yeah,
Why-
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, why
If you-
why couldn't we employ a lot of these Mexican people? Instead of bringing them into these holding tanks after they get them, why can't they give them shovels and picks and things and start excavating?
Okay, sounds a little bit like labor camps, but
Well, you know, how many days?
do you
would they-
intend to pay them?
Of course.
Oh,
They
okay.
have to get some money. Why shouldn't they? you know?
Dollar a day.
Well, and lunch.
When they pay people in the CCC?
They, I don't think it was much. They
I
were
don't
getting
think it was $1 a day.
No, it was a little more. Well, no,
Wasn't much more.
Started about $20 a month.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it was.
For those of you who are not quite as old as we are,
We were very old.
the CCC was the Civilian Conservation
Conservation
Corps.
Corps.
It was one of the largest of FDR's make work programs
And
during the Depression
and
to
popular.
put people to work, which basically, you know, kept them off the streets and gave them a little something to do and
Right.
a little self-respect and et cetera.
Well, the Japanese and the Russians and the Germans were busy teaching the kids at the same time how to use guns and mortars and tanks and all the rest of it, and fly fighter planes and bombers. They were doing that while we were doing the CCCs. It seems.
We were building the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, we were building Hoover Dam too.
But we seem to have learned all that stuff fast enough.
We did learn it
Right.
fast enough. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
What else have you got? We got many countries are ordering Russians, foreign service people.
to leave.
Yes,
To leave.
and
And the Russians aren't happy. The Russians are saying, there's no proof. There's no proof we murdered these people.
no proof, except that they were part of the signatories to that. They were making that poison that they were.
Right. They
Yeah.
invented it.
Yeah. Yeah, no proof. Okay.
Well, yeah, it's, you know,
It's,
I don't know, maybe if you're a Russian diplomat in the United States or Great Britain or Australia or something, you're not too happy to get sent home, you know. But-
do you think Putin could be a shortstop or a second baseman? Putin,
I think he could be an MMA fighter,
an MMA.
mixed martial arts fighter.
Oh,
I think he
okay.
could be in the UFC or something.
I like to see them hit a bunch of baseballs at this guy if he was out there in second base or shortstop. You know, everybody was banging balls at him. I don't know how he would take to that, but that's something. Well,
Well, I mean, he is what he is, and he doesn't really much pretend to be anything else. On another front, we had the interesting spectacle of a 32-foot long Chinese space station deciding to re-enter the Earth.
yeah.
The Chinese take great exception to the comment that it was out of control or uncontrolled. They claim that they were still in control of it. But if they had been in control of it, at the very least, they would have been able to say where it was going to land.
True.
Fortunately, it
30.
landed in the middle of the South Pacific, and in all probability, no fish were damaged in the
30,
thing.
32 feet is a good size.
But you know, their thing wasn't that old.
No.
I wonder if it was in a low orbit or
Yeah.
what the story was, why
Okay, they messed up.
it came
and
down.
It's
but
time for us to.
It is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society shorthanded rendition of a play from really quite close to the top of the vault.
Yeah.
And it is entitled, I'm not sure if it's fitting or not, but I'll say fittingly entitled Turmoil. Action.
Guy from the market's changing jobs.
Is it congenital?
That's insulting.
Oh, he just wanted something different.
Bunch of gypsies.
Always stereotyping, my friend.
Yeah, his family's been here 5 generations.
Yeah, but he's probably a dropout.
And next comes the gene pool.
Yeah, the gene pool. We need some fresh water there.
You and your special views.
Schnickelgruber had similar ideas.
Don't go overboard.
What about his new job?
Wants to go into the hardware business.
Did he ever hear of Home Depot?
The competition is good.
With a giant?
Actually, he'd prefer fruit and vegetables.
Sure, he could buy everything cheap from China.
Artichokes, eggplants, and avocados.
No, hardware, tools, nuts, bolts, etc.
But the food could be tainted.
Well, buy high, sell low.
Now it's the stock market, huh?
Oh, it works in any market.
Yeah, supply and demand.
Buy a 2-family?
And Trump converts it into a 3.
What about zoning?
Town bylaws.
Is that like in-law outlaws?
Well, money moves everywhere.
It's about the profit.
Everyone really wants more.
What's wrong with a fruit stand?
Guy aspires to become an entrepreneur.
That's double talk.
Wants to be his own boss.
Okay, but it's a volatile business
Why?
because the prices depend on the weather.
Gas prices are cheaper in the winter.
Heating fuel isn't.
So follow the sun.
What, you want me to move to Florida?
Everybody else has.
It's always booming there.
And then comes the bust.
Oil. Now there's a simple business,
Dig a well and build a pipeline.
and the cash rolls in.
Then you need a refinery.
A few second-hand tankers would help.
Or persuade Chavez to sell you Venezuelan oil.
Now, a hardware store could make it there.
A nice pizza parlor with pasta.
No, I prefer Chinese noodles.
He's got all the answers.
Can they ship cheap lobsters anywhere?
They'll flood the market.
Talking a typhoon or a tornado?
We're all alike.
But they have 1.3 billion people in China.
Well, we also owe them billions.
And now they're even turning out cars.
Don't forget smog and carbon dioxide.
What about living green?
Isn't it a communist country?
Yeah, it's red China.
Bunch of atheists.
Don't be a fathead.
I resent that. I'm dieting.
Well, what, you're going to wear a smaller hat size now?
All the ball caps are Asians.
So was Daisuke.
He doesn't wear it sideways.
What, rapper style?
They bootleg films, music, books.
Hey, it's the free market.
It's unfortunate.
What, you think I'm justifying theft?
Business is business.
Don't you want more?
It's the nature of investing.
And what about war?
Democracy for the Muslim states is overdue.
After all, our soldiers volunteered.
President says we have to stay the course.
But it's a long time from May to September.
Anyways, house prices are dropping.
Big deal.
But mortgage money is tight.
College tuition loan companies may be in trouble.
It could never be corrupt practices.
No, so the kids pay more.
True, there's a war on.
Belt tightening is in order.
All those billions to rebuild Iraq.
Oh, stop whining. We'll find it somewhere.
But if it's in Syrian and Iranian banks,
Then it's all the fault of those devious Shiites and Sunnis.
you couldn't believe that.
It's the Zionists, you know. War is all their fault.
You don't really believe that.
Okay, then it's the right-wing conspiracy.
Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Rupert Murdoch.
Right of what? David Mamet could write this script.
Its essence might elude him.
My friend should give up on the veggie stand.
Sell newspapers while they're still in style.
Maybe he could write a blog.
Are they edible?
I know blueberries have batteries. Oh no, that's blackberries.
Blackberries. You're thinking of those eye pills.
What's wrong with a shoe shine stand?
People wear sneakers now.
Well, they're good for running and biking.
I hate excuses and exercise.
Ah, I know. How about a massage parlor?
Would George Tenet open one?
Right, George, I think he's got it.
It's moving too fast.
The world?
No, the dialogue in this script.
You're balmy.
Someone has to take a stand.
Why?
The water's coming under the door.
What about the sandbags?
It's the wildfires that bother me.
Next you'll tell me this is all breaking news.
Pick up the phone, pick up the phone.
I'm not one of your bloody telemarketers.
Well, I think we should go to dinner.
I've been through too much tonight.
A hamburger will calm your nerves.
Yeah, that ends my campaigning.
Blackout.
Blackout. Turmoil.
That's it.
Turmoil.
Now here's a bunch of things that a young man from Virginia. He happens to be an endodontist, and he's up here. He's my son. He wrote. I said, "Here's all these newspapers. Write down some topics that we can use tonight." Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And he started talking about the Gazans and the spring test of the Israeli entrance, border entrance, all this strip violence and countermeasures. Well, I didn't like it, and the Palestinian leader didn't like it, and I guess it goes on. That's about it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're protesting their oppression by setting up encampments near the border crossings.
Something on that order. Something on that.
Well, they've been left precious little land. I think they should pretty much be able to do what they want on it.
Well, that's probably, there is something there in what you're saying. Anyways, there's a lot of land in all these other Arab countries that they can move to if they feel like it. Now we can move on to citizenship as a valid.
You mean there's actually land the Israelis are not occupying?
Well, no, there is. If you look at Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of land there on that province, a lot of desert, similar to what the Israelis moved on to and learned about, taught themselves how to turn it into green and forested and the rest of it. But anyways, we'll get away from that. Walmart is looking to buy Humana Insurance, like CVS buying Aetna's. It would bring prescription customers into Walmart. What do you think of that?
Well, I thought Humana was an actual healthcare operation that provided services, but I never thought of Walmart as a pharmacy. But I guess they are. I guess they're trying to be everything these days, right?
Yeah, CVS is buying into this sort of thing too.
I don't know. I'm too old to be happy about,
Are you
this
insured?
monopoly after monopoly.
You're insured, aren't you?
Huh?
You're insured.
I'm insured.
Good. Okay.
But I'm talking about monopolies.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Amazon and stuff, or this stupid Facebook that people for quite a while had no idea how it was that this apparently stupid, innocent, frivolous thing called Facebook was making its founders so bloody rich. And now we've learned that all this stuff about your pictures and your "this is what I'm having for lunch" nonsense, that isn't their business at all.
No.
Their business is spying on hundreds of millions of people and stealing all their personal information and selling it on the open market to whatever bidder, even if that bidder is the KGB.
Right. So far, you've described Facebook perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
I have attended over 50 Harvard commencements in my time.
Yeah.
And I have only walked out of one commencement speech in all that time. And it was a few years ago when Mark Zuckerberg was the speaker. And Mark Zuckerberg had nothing to say.
Well, now he's apologizing for those bad things that happened.
You know why he's apologizing? Because his company's value has gone down $50 billion.
Oh, those things
$50 billion.
That's the life of the
that
business.
must have cost him a shekel or two.
Oh, I guess it cost him. And then there's Spielberg's new movie, Player One. Ready Player One, about video games. Will the film have appeal or appeal to other nerds or what? It's a strange-
Well, it's people making the choice to live in a virtual reality instead of in the real world, and I'm not sure. I have pretty much faith in Spielberg, but let's remember that he made E.T., so I suspect that that the movie will be at the very least interesting.
Interesting.
But I don't like the concept of abandoning the real world.
I don't either.
It's like submerge yourself in a video game and forget that Donald Trump's in the White House.
Okay.
All right, my friend, lay on.
Lay on.
Lay on.
We still got self-driving cars.
No, we have no time.
Yeah, we have looks like extra 3
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
there.
I'm
Yeah,
once
yeah.
again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the wrong timer on the wall.
Okay.
Because I'm supposed to look at the red numbers, but the red numbers run out and the green numbers are nowhere near done.
Okay.
Self-driving cars, they have restarted the testing in Arizona
Yeah.
after the fatal accident.
Accident.
But if you saw those dashboard footage, you realize that the best driver in the world would not have avoided that accident.
Right.
Because that person shows up on the dashboard camera about 3 feet before they were hit,
Yeah. What about lower college enrollments? What about that?
Well, there's not lower college enrollments, but what there is a problem is that more and more of the seats in American colleges, particularly good American colleges, are going to foreigners. And unfortunately, one of the reasons for that is because they pay full tuition.
Full tuition.
And so on the plus side, more American kids are qualified and interested in going to college.
Right.
And at the same time, there are fewer and fewer seats in good colleges for them to go to. It's a problem. It's a problem. And in fact, it's hit particularly hard this year.
Yeah.
And almost any guidance counselor will tell you that. And so good, qualified, able American high school students who've done everything right for the last 12 years are ending up with no place to go to college.
And then we have the small colleges. They're not getting the enrollment either. What about that?
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, well, that was in the Globe. I showed you a piece of that in here. Anyways,
I don't know what colleges aren't getting the applicants, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
yeah, okay.
All I know is that, if you want to go to a good school,
Yeah.
that you have a far less of a chance now than because they're giving all the things away. Oh, here's the colleges you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Newberry, Franklin Pierce, Fisher, Eastern Nazarene, Mount Ida. You're not talking small colleges, you're talking tiny colleges.
Well, it says small colleges in the article.
Providence College, then that's surprising, but oh, here's one. Smith, that's surprising.
That's surprising.
That's
Okay.
surprising.
And I guess we're about ready.
Find a tune in there somewhere, Michael.
Good
Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. We'll see you in our dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, everybody, from the Fun Show here at Big TV. Tune in next week and see Michael and Kira and Susan, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. So enjoy yourself and enjoy those Easter leftovers.
And Passover leftovers also.
Passover leftovers.
Yeah.
You didn't bring me any.
Okay, I will. Tonight, tomorrow. Okay.